Hello, everyone. Welcome to AutomationEdge Training. When you build automations, workflows being files to each agent machine, which creates version drift and extra maintenance. In this video, you'll learn how to use file management in AutomationEdge to upload and deliver those supporting files automatically to both your workflows and your agents. This feature is available for System Admin and Tenant Admin role. In this video, we are going to see Tenant Admin file management. We will cover three things: uploading files, setting allowed file types for security, and using the get files from server step to pull files at runtime. We can upload file at workflow level and agent level. Workflow files let you attach supporting files to a specific workflow on the AE server. When that workflow runs, the files are already available, no manual placement required. To understand how file uploading works at the workflow level, let's walk through a practical use case. Employee allowance calculation. This process reads employee data from 3 Excel files: an employee master, a timesheet, and an allowance master. It calculates total working hours, computes the allowance for each employee, and saves the results in XML format. The 3 input files need to be available before the workflow runs, so we upload a timesheet and an allowance master to the AutomationEdge server at the workflow level, employee master at agent level, and then read them inside Process Studio using the get files from server step. Let us go to AutomationEdge server. Go to File Management, then Workflow Files. You're on the Workflows tab. This lists files linked to specific workflows. Click Upload to open the new file dialog. Click the Workflow field and select Employee Allowance Calculation Workflow. Click Choose File. Select the Allowance Master, then click Upload. Allowance Master file is uploaded. You can see it in the list. Now let us upload employee timesheet input files required for employee allowance calculation workflow. Then click Upload. The file now appears in the Workflow Files list. Once the files are uploaded to the server, they are stored under the agent storage folder. As you can see on screen, inside the storage folder, there is a Files folder, and within that, a Workflow folder. And this is exactly where the uploaded files are placed and ready to be used by the workflow. Now let's look at how to manage files already uploaded to the server. If you need to replace a file with a newer version, click the Edit icon. The Update File dialog will appear. Simply select the updated file and click Update. And if a file is no longer needed, click the Delete icon next to it to remove it from the server completely. If you have a large number of files on the server, simply use the Search or Advanced Search option to find what you need without scrolling through the entire list. With workflow level file uploading covered, let's now move on and see how uploading works at the agent level. Agent files work just like workflow files, but they are scoped to an agent instead of a single workflow. This means a file uploaded at the agent level is shared across all workflows running on that agent. Think about an employee master file. It is needed by multiple processes like allowance calculation, attendance management, performance bot, and birthday bot. Rather than uploading it separately for every workflow, you simply upload it once at the agent level, and every workflow on that agent can use it. And whenever you upload or update an agent file, it is automatically downloaded to the agent machine, keeping everything in sync without any extra steps. Navigate to File Management, then Workflow Files, and click the Agents tab. This is where agent-level files live. Click Upload to open the new file dialog. Click the Agent field, select the appropriate agent from the drop-down, then click Choose File, pick your file, and hit Submit. We are adding the Employee Master file here. Once submitted, it appears in the Agent Files list and automatically downloads to that agent. And as you can see on screen, these files are stored under the Storage folder, inside the Files folder, within the Agent folder. Uploading files to the server is only half the story. At runtime, the workflow needs to actively pull those files to the right location on the agent. And that is exactly what the Get Files from Server step does. Let's jump into Process Studio and see this in action. As you can see, the Employee Allowance Calculation workflow is open on the canvas. This workflow reads Employee Master, Allowance Master, and timesheet details from Excel files, calculates total hours and allowances, and saves everything into an XML file. If we open the Employee Details step, you can see the file path is hard-coded right now. To make this dynamic, we need to add the Get Files from Server step ideally as the first step in the workflow, so all files are downloaded and ready before any other step runs. Let's configure the step. You'll notice two tabs at the top, General and Configuration. We'll start with the General tab. Here you'll find the Download All Workflow-Related Files checkbox. Enable this if you want to retrieve every file attached to the workflow in a single operation. Useful when your step depends on multiple assets and you don't want to download them one at a time. One thing to note, if this checkbox is checked, the level column in the table below will only show Agent as an option, since checking this box already handles all workflow level files for you. Next, specify the target directory. This is the local path on the agent, meaning the machine executing this step, where the downloaded files will be saved. For more granular control over individual files, we'll use the table instead of the checkbox. For each file, you'll set three things: the level, the file name, and the target directory. The level can be set to either agent or workflow, depending on what level we have added the file. Then enter the exact file name, including its extension, and specify the target directory, the local path where that specific file will be downloaded. For this workflow, we won't use the Download All Workflow-Related Files checkbox. Instead, we'll add each file individually in the table for full control. Let's start with Employee Timesheet and Allowance Master. Since both of these files are attached to the workflow, we'll set the level to workflow and enter target directory path. Next, for Employee Master, we'll set the level to agent. We'll enter target directory path here as well. A few important things to keep in mind. You can't use the same file name twice at the same level. Each entry needs to be unique. If you leave the target directory blank, the file will simply download to the current working directory of the workflow or agent, whichever level you've selected. Once that's set, we're ready to move to the Configuration tab. Here, you'll choose what happens if a file already exists in the target location. You have three options. Overwrite existing files replaces the existing file. This is the default behavior. Error if file exists, stops the workflow if a conflict is found. Skip if file exists, leaves the existing file in place and continues without replacing it. You'll also see an Ignore Errors option. Enable this if you want the workflow to continue running even when a file fails to download, rather than stopping the entire workflow. One important behavior to note: this step can be used as either the first step in a workflow or an intermediate step. When it's used as an intermediate step, only the first row of the table is processed. So if you're relying on multiple file entries, make sure this step is placed first or restructure accordingly. Let's connect the Get Files from Server step to our three file input steps: Employee Master, Employee Timesheet, and Allowance Master. Now, let's open the Employee Master Excel input step. Enable the Accept File Name from Previous Steps checkbox. This tells the step to retrieve the file name generated by an earlier step in the workflow, rather than using a fixed file name. Notice that once this checkbox is selected, the Select File table and related fields become disabled. That's expected, since the file information will now be passed dynamically from the previous step instead of being set manually here. Next, select the Get Files from Server step from the step to read file names from dropdown. This tells the system which earlier step to pull the file name from. Then choose the File Name field Employee Master, which specifies exactly which output value from that step to use. Click OK to save the configuration. We'll apply the same configuration to the Employee Timesheet and Allowance Master input steps as well. Please note that this workflow can only be executed from the server. If you attempt to run it from Process Studio, an error will occur because the required files are generated and passed during server execution. Let's publish the workflow to the server once again. Let's execute the workflow. You can see the workflow has executed successfully and completed without any errors. Now let's look at allowed file types. By default, most file types can be uploaded to the AutomationEdge server. Allowed file types changes that. Only extensions you explicitly approve can be uploaded. This helps prevent potentially harmful files, like executables or scripts, from entering your environment. Here's how to configure it. Go to File Management and select Allowed File Types. Click Add to open the configuration form. Enter the file extension, for example .bmp. Then enter its MIME type. For .bmp, that's image or BMP. The MIME type is how the system validates that a file actually matches its extension, not just its file name. Click Add to stage the entry, then click Add All to finalize. Your approved extensions will now appear on the Allowed File Types page. A few important notes. Once Allowed File Types is enabled for any extension, every upload is checked against your list. Before turning this on, add every extension your environment already uses. Otherwise, existing uploads could be blocked. Exception. .zip and .jar files uploaded through file management or plugins are always allowed, regardless of this setting. The ae.band.file.extension property in ae.properties sets a global band list that overrides any configuration made here. In this environment, the band file types are .exe and .msi. You can see AE properties file on screen and the band file property. Now let's add .xlsx as an allowed extension, with the MIME type set to star, a wildcard, meaning any MIME type will be accepted for files with the .xlsx extension. Click Add and then Add All. As you can see, the extension now appears in the list. Now let's try uploading a .docs file, and you'll see an error, File with extension. .docs is not allowed for upload. Let's recap what we covered. File management in AutomationEdge. Workflow files. Upload files and attach them to a specific workflow on the AE server. Agent files. Upload files that automatically sync to an agent machine. Allowed file types. Control which file extensions are permitted for security. Get files from server. Retrieve those files to the right location at runtime with built-in conflict handling. File management keeps your automation environment consistent. No manual file placement, no version drift. For more information and support, visit community.automationedge.com. Thank you for watching.